Boss Fan TV, and today we're going to be doing our opposition fan preview for our game against Dundalk tomorrow evening. I'm joined by Dundalk fan Fiachra. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, well, so going into the game, obviously Dundalk haven't started the season very well. How are you feeling about the game?
Uh, it's hard to say. Normally, it's Bohs and Dundalk are two teams at the topper end of the table, and two of us are, I think, third and second bottom at the moment. I know we're only 3 games in, but it's not a good start from either side. But I'm hopeful now, that Dundalk can do something. I'm sure you're hoping the other way around, but we get a good game out of it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, we haven't started too well either. We both had very similar starts, only picking up 1 point from our first 3 games. It's been a frustrating start for us because, Finn Harp's away in the first game. Yeah, we weren't great. We probably deserved that, but in the Longford game then, we played really well for about in the first half. Then second half we just fell apart, and then the Pats game was the same really. We just didn't turn up. But going into this one, do you think this is a good opportunity for Dundalk to get 3 points?
I think it's a good opportunity for both teams really to get, for either team, the one to go out and get it, because neither team playing well. I think I've seen Frank Garland's out now for a good while. His ACL, seen today in the scan, so that's him out for a good long time. And Natstead still suspended for this game, so there's 2 big chunks at the back, and I think they should start Cherry and goals, but knowing the way things are going, they're probably going to start a baby again. So I think Bohs have a very good chance going forward, because that Dundalk back isn't looking very good, very leaky this season. And the 2 goals, I don't know if you saw the goals against Rovers we conceded, both outside the box. No, you should not be conceding two goals from outside the box. No. You want to win the league, you should be doing that in the game.
Yeah, exactly. A baby has looked very shaky in the games I've seen him. The Finn Harps match where he kicked the air basically, he didn't know what happened there. But and Foley came in, and then the goal that Rover scored, the one from Dylan Watt, we really should be saving that. But I don't know why you're starting the baby still. Cherry will do shit. He'll do better than the baby anyway. But
he's the best keeper in the league, Cherry, but he's very solid keeper, probably top 4 or 5 keepers in the league, on his day. Do you know what I mean? So I don't see why we're not.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned your kind of big players at the back, Natastad and Garland obviously are both out. Obviously Garland had a bad injury in the Rovers match, and Natastad's still suspended. Is that for the red card he got against Rovers?
Yeah,
which
was he was allowed to play against Sligo, and then he was away for international for the Finn Harps game, and then he's suspended for the Rovers both games.
But yeah, it was never really a red card though in the first place, was it? Yeah. Is there any players that Dundalk should be wary of from the Bohs team that you're kind of worried about?
I'm kind of just worried about ourselves making mistakes, really, to be honest. Because I know, the personnel we have, I think we have the quality to deal with anything that is thrown at us. They're just not doing it. Though, if I have to, I probably am worried about Georgie Kelly coming back to haunt us a wee bit. It always seems to be someone comes back to haunt you. You know what I mean? Georgie can score goals. I know he didn't really do it much last year, but he done all right for us, and he was lethal in UCD, I suppose. So I'm afraid of him coming back with something to prove against Dundalk and just tearing us to shreds.
Yeah. He hasn't had too bad of a start, to be fair. Georgie Kelly, he kind of, his first game against Harps, he wasn't great, but he played well against Longford. He took his goal really well, and then he wasn't as good against Pats. But yeah, it'd be funny to see him score against Steels, but because Pats fans were kind of worried about that if he came back to haunt them, but he didn't in the end. But yeah, is there any Dundalk players that could cause Bohs some problems?
Well, just the normal suspects, really. I think Pat Hoban, obviously up front, he's always going to be a handful. I think you get balls into him. He can score. Like he could have had a couple of goals, like a couple of extra goals already this season, and he hit the post twice against Finn Harps, and very unlucky against Rovers not to get a couple more as well. I thought Manus had a great game though, but yeah, probably him or Michael Duffy. Same time again, probably on his day, he's probably one of the best players in the league. Haven't seen much of him for his own standards this season yet. So hopefully he can push on and do something well for us now tomorrow night.
Yeah, actually, one player I've really liked the look of is Ryan O'Kane, the young lad. He looked really good in some of the games I've
He,
seen.
yeah, from what I've seen of him, anyways, and stuff, he is very good. I think he was a wee bit out of his depth in the Rovers game. I thought that might have been maybe too big of an occasion for a young fella. But other than that, preseason he was fantastic. And I think what game was it? Is it Sligo he came on against, or is it no Finn Harps he came on against? I think yeah, he was very good there as well. He's very lively, and from what I've heard from people around town that have seen him play more than I have, he is going to be very very good when he's a wee bit older. So hopefully he can latch on to Michael Duffy and learn a trick or two or something from him.
Yeah, because he's got a lot of good players there to learn from. So if you had to give a score prediction, what would it be?
I was thinking about this actually all day. I'm probably going to go with 2-1 Dundalk. I think we're very leaky at the back, but it's going to our goals are going to start coming again. I think if we're given the chances, so I'm hopeful for 2-1 Dundalk. I'll go for.
Yeah, because you did create a lot of chances against Rovers. You were quite unlucky, but Manus pulled off a few really good saves. To be fair to him. So one last thing I'll ask you about is the kind of managerial situation at Dundalk. Obviously, we don't know whether one week it might be Keegan or the other might be Filippo. What's your kind of thoughts on the whole managerial situation at the moment?
Well, yeah, no, I think it is kind of just. I'm sure that the in team, like the team, everyone in place know exactly who the boss is. If it is Keegan, or if it is Filippo, or if it is, I don't know, fucking Chris Shields. I don't know, but I'm sure they know exactly who's in charge and what's going on, and they're just not releasing it because if it's causing the fans chaos, not knowing who's picking the teams and what what's the inner thoughts of Dundalk, I'm sure it's causing other managers the same type of problems. So maybe it could be a tactic. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
hopeful they know what they're doing anyway. But
mm, yeah,
it needs to change something. I think though it's not doing very good. It's like putting faith in a baby. I think I don't want to be mean to the poor fella, like because he seems like a nice fella, but I just think maybe Cherry needs to be starting. Needs to
yeah,
be making them changes. And then as well, I was thinking about it earlier on as well. Against Shamrock Rovers, chasing a goal, the management made a decision. We had McMillan on the bench and they took the hourly he on. I don't know how that makes like how a manager makes that decision. You're chasing a goal, you have David McMillan on the bench. Why are you not sticking him on? So I think they need to look at it again, whatever their tactics are.
yeah. Because it's probably confusing for some of the players. Maybe and as you said, maybe they do know who is the boss behind the scenes, but it could be confusing for some of the players. But you know, it it'll click eventually. I think because I do think you have a really strong squad. Like on paper, you probably do have the strongest squad in the league, in my opinion. With the players you've got in each position, like going forward, you have like Duffy, Hooven, and then as backup to them, you have players like Junior and Macmillan. Like you've got some very talented players, and I just think for whatever reason it's not clicking. Maybe it's just down to the management or behind the scenes or a baby even, just making mistakes. But
I
uh,
think language barrier might be a thing because there's a couple of boys. I think one fella coming from Latvia, one from the Faroe Islands, the baby's from Albania. The hand then from South Korea. So I think that might play a wee bit of an issue as well. If the boys aren't like League of Ireland boys are always just used to Irish fellas and then the odd English boy coming over. So when so many changes from languages, I think that could be a bit difficult to get around maybe in training, so they're just not building up the relationship as quick. So hopefully they can get over that if that's a thing for them. I don't know.
yeah. So we'll leave it there. Cheers for coming on. Make sure like, subscribe, share, comment, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.